The Blast from Our Past Network.
Hey everybody, Corey here.
And it's me, Zach.
We wanted to tell you about our new show called The Coscarelli Factor.
You can find it on our Patreon at patreon.com/podcastingafterdark. The Coscarelli Factor covers every single film that Don Coscarelli has directed. And some other little bonus features in there too, like maybe the music videos he directed as well.
That's right. You can find all the episodes under the Auteur de Force tier on our Patreon page. Like Zach said, that's patreon.com/podcastingafterdark. And if you sign up today, you will get access to the complete Carpenter Factor series, where Zach and I went through every single movie that John Carpenter directed, from Dark Star all the way to, well, all the way till the end. So sign up today to our Patreon page and you can unlock all kinds of other things as well, like ad-free episodes and our monthly wrap-up After Dark show.
Patreon helps keep the lights on in the podcasting After Dark world. It gets pretty dark out there at night, and all your support keeps us from getting too scared.
And thank you to everyone who's signed up to our Patreon page. We really appreciate it. And as always,
we'll catch you on the dark side.
Lock your doors, close your windows, turn out your lights, for chills and thrills await you. It's time for Podcasting After Dark with your hosts, Corey Stevenson and Zach Schaefer. Stay with a friend, say your prayers as grisly ghouls close in to seal your doom. Tonight's episode, The Relic, starring Tom Sizemore, Penelope Ann Miller, and Clayton Rohner.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Podcasting After Dark. I'm one half of the PAD team, Corey, a.k.a. Sleazy C. Joined with me, as always, my brother from another mother, Zach, the total snackage Schaefer. And Zach, we're finally doing it, buddy. We're finally getting to 1997's The Relic, a movie that you and I have been wanting to review for quite some time now.
Yeah, I've been searching for human hypothalamuses. Finally found them. And I said, let's do the thing. Let's just do the thing. And, you know, just for all y'all listeners, because you can't see us, Corey and I are sharing the exact same hairstyle. We're wearing the exact same outfits, but we're two completely different characters. We're podcast hosts. Or are we? You'll find out in this episode what I'm referring to.
There's something wrong with his medulla oblongata. Do you remember that from The Waterboy?
Yes, I do.
Oh boy. All right. So, Zach, 1997's The Relic. Real quick, buddy, before we talk about our experience with the film, it premiered January 10th, 1997. It was supposed to come out the previous August in 96, but Stan Winston had a hard time getting the suit made, or the creature feature made. It opened number one at the box office, grossing $9 million the opening weekend, for a total of $33 million. But unfortunately, it had an estimated cost of $60 million, so it did not make back its budget.
If your original estimate of $90 million was that would have been
we would have had a franchise by now.
Yes, and August, notoriously not a good month for movies to come out. Same with January. So
yeah,
the studio may be waiting on it, and oh boy, yeah, January not a good time to look. I have a really long history with this movie, and most of it is positive. Rewatching it 2 days ago gave me a whole other perspective on this film that I thought I never had in my life.
Me too. So let's save that for after we get past the cast and crew.
Okay.
But I have a feeling I have the same perspective. I have the same new perspective as you do.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But this movie was hyped to the hills at Fangoria the year prior, and I remember getting ready to see it when it came out. The poster was boring as hell. Like, nothing about it made you go, oh, cool. The trailer, meh, kind of boring too. I'm sure on one hand it was to keep people kind of in suspense of like, what could this creature look like? And B, probably because, yeah, Stan Winston hadn't finished really with his special effects yet, so they weren't ready to release anything. But I met Peter Hyams, the director of this movie, at Fangoria. He did a Q&A for this movie, moderated by Tony Timpone, and talked about it, was excited about the film, at least, when he talked to the audience about it. My brother read the book that it's based on.
Yeah. I think there's actually a series, like based on one of the characters in the book. I don't know necessarily if the monster factor moves forward or if it's just keeps following one of the. I think because Tom Sizemore's character is based pretty much an amalgamation of two separate characters in the book.
Right.
And I think the franchise or the series of books kind of follows one of those characters.
Right. Bingo. Yeah, and I was gonna say that, and then you said it. So I think my brother was definitely disappointed by some of the changes that they made, but he still liked it as well. Like, we went and saw it opening night, and when we get to the cast and crew, big time, awesome stuff to talk about when it comes to all that, for sure. But we were hyped to see this movie. Saw it in the theater when it came out. Watched it once when it came out on DVD, was it DVD? Yeah, I think DVD. And never watched it again.
Do you remember liking it when it first came out?
I really did. I was really like, what I didn't like then is the same thing that I don't like now. But overall, I thought it was entertaining. Bodie watched it with me the other night. So did Kristen, Femme French. I'll get you their comments in a little bit. But yeah, I remember liking it when it came out. How about you? Did you see it opening night when it came out?
I sure as hell did. Saw it opening weekend. I think, like you, I was unimpressed with the trailers and everything, but I was aware of it because of Fangoria, and I think Fangoria kind of showed the creature off and stuff like that. They spoiled it. Yeah, they did, but I mean, you kind of need to, like, knowing what the creature looks like doesn't take away the enjoyment of the movie. Like, I thought then, and I still think now, that it's a well-crafted film.
Agreed.
Well shot, obviously I think, some things don't hold up. Cough, coughs, the CGI, but, that's sort of to be expected. But at the time, I loved it. My friends and I all loved it. We watched it. We probably, caught it a couple times on VHS and, in the late 90s, a couple years later. And then I probably never watched it when I went off to college. Like, I probably popped it in on, here's where it's perfect. Working at the video store and you're kind of doing other things at the same time, I would probably pop that in and be like, oh yeah, the Relic, that's a fun one to put on in the background. But I probably have not seen it, sat down to watch it in its like entirety till just recently. And because of that, it's kind of, I feel like I'm speaking for you as well. It was one of those movies that just over time, I've always been like, oh yeah, the Relic. I love that movie. That movie was great. You know what I mean? And like I said, might have a little bit of a different opinion on that, when we get to our review and discussion about it. But Zach, let me throw out to you, man, 97 was a great fucking year for creature features. Now, I'm not going to say that all of these movies are good or that I necessarily like all of these movies, but I was hyped for all of these movies in 97. Obviously, The Relic came out, kicked off the year. We got Mimic. We got Anaconda.
Just about to say Mimic.
Yep. Anaconda, Alien Resurrection, and again, I'm talking about it. I was hyped for these things. Doesn't mean I necessarily like them.
Right.
Jurassic Park: The Lost World, and in the following year, we're gonna have Deep Rising and Phantom. So we kind of keep a little bit of the creature features going. But I gotta say, Zach, 97. I think the horror movie that holds up best, and I watch it pretty frequently, is Event Horizon.
Yeah, that's the only one out of all of these, that and Relic, that I would rewatch. The rest of them, hard pass. And
yeah. So my thing with Mimic, bro, I saw all of them in the theater. My thing with Mimic is it's this movie that I swear to God on paper, I should love it. I didn't like it when I saw it. I tried it again like a couple years later. I tried it again. Then I heard about the fabled director's cut. I watched that. I try to like that movie once every 5 to 6 years, and it never ever works for me. What are your thoughts on Mimic?
Yeah, same. I remember the hype of like these bug creatures that look like humans when they're standing up tall, like with a trench coat on, and how creepy, and great cast, and Guillermo del Toro, and like then you watch it and you're like, this is boring. This is terrible. Yeah. And yeah, this kicked off the whole DVD director's cut thing. Director's cuts are coming out, and you get to see what the director really intended. It's way better than what we saw in the theater. And then you watch, you're like, this is trash. It's just pretty much the same. It's not trash, but it's just not that great. It's kind of like Nightbreed. People were like, oh, wait till you see the Cabal cut. And then you do, and you're like, nah, I'll take the theatrical cut any day. Like, just give me that. That's totally fine. Nightbreed blows all these out of the water, by the way.
On the flip side of that, Zach, is like Jason Goes to Hell. The unrated director's cut is the essential version because that's the one that has all the gore and the violence to it. Same as Return of the Living Dead Part 3. So you kind of have your hit or misses. I think to your point, there were probably more like unnecessary misses than there were hits. I think those are probably the two most essential DVD era director's cuts.
Yeah. So on one hand, while all these movies are not that great, the other hand is that they're all special effects heavy. That's a lot of big movies. You think about now, big, what do you call them? Tentpole type movies like these are, because they're big budget sci-fi horror films. They're far and few between nowadays. There may be one or two in the summertime. This is the list that you rattled off is pretty extensive for one year alone, and then to cap it off with Event Horizon towards the end. I mean, Event Horizon to me is like, miles above all of these other movies.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that one. And it's funny too because a few of those are actually franchises that are still going strong today. Jurassic Park franchise, the Alien franchise is having a resurgence, and Anaconda weirdly just had a remake. So I mean, it's interesting.
We tried watching the original Anaconda after we saw the movie, the new movie that came out, which is silly. It's bad. I mean, CGI. Just bad. This is also an example of almost all of these movies have bad CGI. They're all bad. Yeah,
Alien Resurrection as well. I think Event Horizon's probably the one that uses CGI the least, and it's probably the reason it's the best of the bunch. And Mimic's just boring. Yeah, I totally agree. I remember the Jurassic Park Lost World. Was that like the one with Vince Vaughn? Yeah, it was the third one or whatever. Yeah,
it's fine.
I didn't like it.
I think the whole Jurassic Park, franchise is like, some people swear by it. They love it the same way some people swear by and love the other franchises, like, say, Fast and Furious. Like, it's one of those things that people just love. And hey, if you love it, cool. Not everybody does, And I thought the Jurassic Park movie was fine. But it wasn't like, it was, out of all of them, it was pretty weak.
Yeah, I really only like the first Jurassic Park. That's pretty much it. And yeah, I think CGI is from this era is just, I mean, we had to go through it to get to where we are now. It was absolutely necessary, but really it holds movies like The Relic back a bit. But
and also the Alien Resurrection is probably the weakest of the four as well.
Oh, absolutely. That's another one. Like, I inherently like it because it's a part of the Alien franchise, but it's definitely my least favorite of the like non-Prometheus, like the original four. It is absolutely my least favorite.
And all those movies you rattled off all have really strong casts as well. And this movie has a strong cast across the board. And I still feel, again, besides CGI, this movie's dark as hell. And maybe we'll get into that when we talk about the nuts and bolts. Remind me if I forget.
Yeah, talk about the cast now, and then we'll get into the crew as well.
Well, I'll bring up Peter Hyams, the director, first, because he's not only the director, but he's also the DP and the cinematographer, and which I think is pretty awesome. It says a lot. And Peter Hyams has an amazing resume. You just watched his movie Outland.
Yep, I did. I did a little mini review on that, thanks to Brian getting me the Blu-ray, and I fucking loved it. And you can't tell me that movie does not take place in the Alien universe.
Yes, totally. He's a genre director. He's had some major misses, and then he's had some, like, in my opinion, some surprise hits. Like likable films that maybe on paper weren't going to be that great, but then you watch them, you're like, nah, it's actually pretty good. He directed he directed The Sound of Thunder not that long ago in 2005, but he did End of Days, the Arnold Schwarzenegger possession film. I thought that was okay. Sudden Death, the Jean-Claude Van Damme ice hockey movie.
Yeah, the hockey movie, yeah.
I like that movie a lot.
Okay.
He also did Time Cop with Jean-Claude Van Damme, which I love. Time Cop.
Yeah, I don't hate that movie. I know it gets a bad rap, but I think it's fun.
I love Time Cop. I love it because I love Jean-Claude Van Damme. He did The Presidio, which was a good thriller with Sean Connery and Mark Harmon back in the day. Meg Ryan, I think, might have been that. Running Scared, another thriller that, while again, that movie on paper, great. Gregory Hines, Billy Crystal. It's got Sweet Freedom in it by Michael McDonald. Oh, okay. Sweet Freedom.
Yeah.
But it's a little slow. He directed Amazing Story Episode. He did the 2010 Year We Make Contact, which is a sequel to 2001, which I really like. Roy Scheider's in that one.
I was going to say, wasn't Roy Scheider in that one? I think I've only seen that one once.
It's good. I like it. Star Chamber, which with Michael Douglas, it was a cool thriller in the early 80s. Outland, of course. Capricorn 1, which I brought up before. We brought that up in our interview with Ron Underwood, because he worked on Capricorn 1, but he's been making movies since the early 70s. This movie, The Relic, I remember he's like a respectful, he's kind of like a Frankenheimer, like he's an old school kind of director.
Yeah, and when we were talking about sort of the hype for this movie, it wasn't a thing back then, but I think we would have referred to it as elevated horror. Like, I remember a lot of the hype about this movie was, oh, it's a horror, it's a creature feature, it's a monster movie, but it has a respectable director, it's got like a solid good cast. It's kind of how they promoted Species in the same way. Like, this is the thinking man's, sci-fi horror. And then you watch Species and it's a TNA movie and you're like, well, that's awesome, but it's not what this, I feel like, is a little bit closer aligned to what the studio wanted you to think it is.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. It is a thinking man's film, thinking person's film. Based on a source material that's really good. I mean, my brother loved this series. He loves these writers, the two of the original books.
Okay.
So, my brother was an avid reader. I don't know if he is now, but he was back then, and he would just tear through books, and I trusted any opinion he had of horror novels. Side note, Peter Hyams did a lot of cinematography for a lot of his movies, including Time Cop, in Sudden Death, and Running Scared, and 2010. So he is, that's pretty rad. Like, the cinematography in this is great. Lighting, not so much.
Yeah. And then it's produced by Gale Ann Hurd, who produced Aliens, Terminator 2, and everything like that. So that's a big deal. Also teamed up with Stan Winston doing the effects. Stan Winston also worked on Aliens and Terminator 2 and everything. So again, I think at this point when this came out, Zach, I think even like the layman knew who Stan Winston was. Like, not so much Gale Ann Hurd, but I think a lot of times, like, I think it's because of how big a deal Jurassic Park was and how much, like, Entertainment Tonight and everything, talked about the effects and talked to Stan Winston. I think your average Joe Schmo on the street actually kind of knew who Stan Winston was. So I think that's another reason this movie sort of got that billing from the studio as like an elevated horror. I could totally see like A24 putting this out nowadays, especially after watching Death of a Unicorn. I could see them doing something like this, Yeah,
it's always tricky when you hype up the effects of a movie versus maybe the story.
Especially when the effects are only seen a total of 4 minutes in the entire film.
Yeah, we'll get to that as well. I want to shout out the screenwriter of this, Amy Holden Jones, because I think that's kind of unique that a woman is the screenwriter of a horror film of this caliber. but she's got quite the resume dating back to the 80s as well. She wrote she's uncredited, but she wrote The Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh, yeah.
She wrote Love Letters, which is infamous for having a very graphic scene with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay.
Love Letters is a drama with her and James Keach. They have
Interesting.
you want to look up some early Jamie Lee Curtis?
Okay.
You'll enjoy it, Corey.
I'm going to Google right now.
She wrote Made to Order, an Ali Sheedy comedy.
I remember that one.
Mystic Pizza. Mystic Pizza is probably one of her more famous ones. She wrote Beethoven, about the big dog. They made a bunch of sequels. She wrote Indecent Proposal, which at the time was a huge deal, right?
Yes, I
Woody
remember that,
Harrelson, again, another very sexy Demi Moore in that.
Yeah.
Beethoven second, she wrote The Getaway.
Oh, shit.
Another sexy movie.
Another one where the VHS or DVD director's cut had a more extended sex scene.
Yes.
I mean, Baldwin pretty much goes down on his wife in that on camera.
Yes. Yes. So anyways, she's got a history of writing some really interesting films,
Yeah.
and a lot of sexy movies too. This one, I think she does a really good job of writing. I mean, she's listed as the main character. I don't know if I'd call her the main character. I think this is an ensemble, but she does a really good job of making Penelope Ann Miller, the lead actor in this, very believable in her character with their dialogue.
Yeah, very well-rounded character. I didn't think any of the characters were all that, cookie cuttery. It's interesting. We'll actually talk about the cop duo and stuff. There's a lot of characters in this movie that I like, and I think that's one of the things that really holds up well about this movie, but it's also one of the things that I remember looking back and when I first saw it, that was one of the things I really liked about The Relic was how it handled the characters and how many likable characters that you didn't want to see die that it gave us.
Yeah, I agree. There were a couple moments where Bodhi was like, both of us were like, they killed the coffee guy. Oh, they killed coffee guy number 2. Coffee guy number 1 and 2 were so cool. Were so likable. They better not kill off Tunnel Guy. Tunnel Guy was cool. I like Tunnel Guy. Anyways, Penelope Ann Miller. What do you remember her from?
Carlito's Way and probably The Shadow.
Not for me it would be Kindergarten Cop and also Carlito's Way. But Kindergarten Cop, it's filmed up in Astoria, Oregon.
It is, and I've seen the school and everything that it was filmed at. I've probably seen that movie once in my life.
Oh, dude! It deserves repeated viewings. I believe she just played. Nancy Reagan in a Reagan biopic where Dennis Quaid played Ronald Reagan.
Awesome.
Yes, good times. So first, rest in peace of the cast, Tom Sizemore. This motherfucker was badass, and it's such a shame. He had a tragic, terrible, end of his life. He just became a drug addict, and it was just rough.
Yeah. So Tom Sizemore during this era was one of my favorite actors. I loved how gruff and grumbly he was. Love his character in Heat. Love his character. He is my favorite character in Saving Private Ryan. And I love his death in True Romance when he plays the police officer Cody. And he's like, oh shit, I forgot my bulletproof vest. And then he literally just gets spun around by bullets. And that's another one with the director's cut. He literally does another spin around in the director's cut with squibs. It's amazing. It's one of the best deaths in a movie ever. But I actually have sort of a side story about him. A buddy of mine, Alex, when I lived in downtown LA. He lived in downtown LA as well. It's the apartments that you can see when you're coming in off of the 110 into onto the 110, where you're going through middle of DTLA, like right through the middle of it. We passed by when we went up to Pasadena, but there's the apartment complex when we're coming back from Pasadena. There's apartment complex that are on like the right, and you can see them from the highway. So my buddy Alex used to live in those apartments, and so did Tom Sizemore. And many a night, my buddy Alex would come back from partying or hang out with me or something like that, and would have to step over Tom Sizemore's, passed out body in the hallway of the apartment complex that he lived in because he didn't quite make it back to, his apartment. So yeah,
That's
he
rough.
would just be like, damn, there's Tom Sizemore right there.
That's
Damn.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a really tragic life, which sucks. So, but
fucking Heat, man. He was great in Heat, bro.
amazing in Heat. Not so good in Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, but we did talk about that
Yeah.
role. I mean, and in this, like he had what I typically call the Clooney hairdo. When
Yes,
you
he
push
did.
Yep. And he looks identical to his co-star in this movie. We'll get to that in just a second. I'm like, you guys literally look like.
Your
Was
boy.
that intentional? Yeah, my boy. We'll get to my boy. But anyways, yeah, Tom Sizemore is an amazing actor and obviously tragic life, but on screen was great. Linda Hunt, who's still alive, by the way, which is, I know I don't want to jinx myself, but she's still alive. Linda Hunt, amazing actor. I know her from Silverado. That's what I mostly know her from, but she played Billy Kwan in The Year of Living Dangerously, a thriller back in the day. And she was in Dune.
Yep, that's where I always will know her from. She plays a character called the Shout-Out Mapes. In the original Dune film, her character has a bit more in the book, but sort of ends the same way. But yeah, for me, she'll always be that Fremen that works in the palace and everything, and kind of connects the Lady Jessica with some certain thing. Anyways, I'm a big Dune nerd, but yeah, the Shout Out Mapes. That's who she always is to me. Isn't she the voice of the little lady in The Incredibles too?
I don't know for sure. I don't think so. She does, but that little lady in The Incredibles does look like her. But this is a little bit of a reunion with her and Penelope Ann Miller, because she's also in Kindergarten Cop.
Oh, is she really?
She's the principal in that. Yeah, she's the principal in that.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so back to our obituaries. Rest in peace.
And this is a PAD alumni too.
He is from later on in his life having amazing roles to way back when in the 1950s having fantastic roles. James Whitmore plays one of the scientists, Dr. Albert Frock. Before we get to the movie on PAD, for me, he'll always be Brooks from the Shawshank Redemption.
Dude,
get busy living or get busy dying.
Dude,
Brooks
what a great
was here.
movie. Yeah, Brooks was here. What a great movie. What a great character in a great movie. Such a memorable character in such a memorable movie. And also an important character. Even though he doesn't do big things, he's still very important to the story. And I still remember to this day when I found out that Brooks, and I'm not even talking about the Relic, but I found out that Brooks was the cop from them that we reviewed. So when I found that out years ago, back before IMDb, my mind was blown then. But yeah, he was a young hunky guy in them.
He sure was. And he went on to have a really amazing career. He played Harry S. Truman in a one-man show, which they turned into a film called Give 'Em Hell, Harry in 1975. The man has been in one amazing project after another. And it's nice when you see these actors in the twilight of their career and life, because he passed away in 2009 at the age of 87. It's nice to see these guys continue to work and get solid roles, not just some walk-on role,
And he had such great chemistry with Tom Sizemore and Penelope Ann Miller in this movie. He actually had better chemistry with each of them than they had with each other. And he's he had charisma, and he was solid for being clearly late 70s or something, early 80s. He was he was probably one of my favorite characters in the movie, even before I knew he was from one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Them. Little factoid, Zach, and I'm sure you would have gotten to her, but we'll get to her just really quick, jump ahead. He was actually married to Audra Lindley back in the day, but by the time of filming this movie, by the time of filming The Relic, they had been divorced for like 18 years. So it was like way, way prior. But he was married to Audra Lindley, and she plays this like, medical doctor in the movie who does like this autopsy. She's in the movie for like all of 4 or 5 minutes. And honestly, it's one of my favorite scenes in the entire film. She is electric.
You know who she is, right?
Yes, she's Mrs. Roper, bro.
Mrs. Roper, and with her moo-moos. Yeah, and she's awesome. It's always cool when you see someone who's known for like one specific role to bust out and do that. Maybe they never even saw each other, I don't
think they probably didn't, because their scenes weren't at all together.
Because she was also in Sudden Death, another Peter Hyams film. So, God, that was a great little cameo of hers. It was a cameo too. I think that was intentional for people who, like, if you know her, wink, wink, you know her, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so got to get to my boy.
Your
one
boy,
of my
baby.
all-time favorite actors. I stole his look. I wanted to steal his look from just one of the guys. Clayton Rohner, who looks pretty much identical to Tom Sizemore. He looks like the younger version of Tom Sizemore, even though I'm pretty sure they're about the same age, because he was born in 1957, and Sizemore was born in 1961. So
you see what drugs does. Drug use does.
Right. There's a reason why Tom Sizemore doesn't take his coat off all that much in this movie to hide certain things. But Clayton Rohner, who's a stud. He kind of has like a mousy kind of meek voice, like you think he's going to get killed off. Spoiler, he survives.
Yeah.
And he looks badass holding a shotgun. If you don't know who Clayton Rohner is, then you haven't listened to our show. So go back and listen to all our old episodes of TV Obscura when we talk about G versus E.
Yep.
He's going to come up again, but if he was in April Fool's Day, like I said, just one of the guys, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And so for me, even though I had seen April Fool's Day as a kid a lot, I kind of didn't, by the time I saw The Relic, I didn't know that was him. This is the movie that when I think of Clayton Rohner, this is the movie that I think of him from, because like, it was one of those things where I can actively remember sitting in the theater watching this movie and being like, oh, I like that guy. And at the very beginning, I'm like, oh no, he's going to die. And then halfway through the movie, I'm like, I really like that guy. I don't want him to die. I thought he was going to die when he tried to keep the fire door from closing. I thought he was going to slide too far and get cut in half when he tried to keep it open with the chair.
Yeah.
Then I thought he was going to die in the sewers, and he didn't. And he actually makes it to the end. And that was another thing that I would always think back fondly on this movie, where this movie took a character that you fully expect to die, and he doesn't. And he's really fucking likable in the entire film. And this is the movie I think of first when I think of Clayton Rohner. I know it should be just one of the guys, but it's this one.
Well, at this stage of his career in 1997, he wasn't doing... Like, he had gone to television and was doing G versus E after this.
Yeah.
He was on, like, prior to this movie, he was doing, like, one-off roles in everything. And TV shows and, bit parts in movies, and nothing really notable in the 90s. In fact, like, kind of took a little bit of a break, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe, who knows? I always wanted to interview the guy. Always wanted to. Would love to hear his story. He's kind of hard to find. So one of these days, maybe I'll track him down. But he was in a bunch of, like, he was in I, Madman, which is a fun horror film from the 80s. Destroyer with Lyle Alzado.
A movie that, dude, we've been wanting to review for a long time now. Ever since we covered Lyle Alzado's show. What was it called? King of the Ring.
Learning the Ropes.
Learning the Ropes. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. And also he was in a movie called Modern Girls, which I was just talking about recently on an episode of $2 Late Fee. So, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary. So I may get to that movie later this year on $2 Late Fee. Anyways, nice. Clayton Rohner, big boner for him. Big boner for Clayton Rohner.
And I know we're going to kind of, and I know we're going to kind of jump around a little bit. but like still talking about characters that you don't want to die, but actually do die to keep the stakes kind of high. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. But John Kapelos and Tico Wells play the cops McNally and Bailey.
Kapelos,
Zach,
Huh? Kapelos, I think is his name.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Kapelos. This is why you usually read the names. But anyways, we saw Tico Wells just last movie that we reviewed in Trespass, and we saw John Kapelos. Everyone knows him as the janitor, Carl from Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he's great. I think that's mostly what he's known for, but the guy's been acting for a really long time, and so is Tico Wells.
Yeah.
Tico doesn't have an IMDb photo, so I don't know what the story is on that. I don't know if he's like...
No, but he's got a hell of a career, though. I mean, he's got a shit ton of movies.
Yeah.
But, like, these cops, did Bodie not want them to die either?
Yeah,
they were the coffee cops?
They were the coffee cops. They were the coffee cops who talked about coffee. Spoiler, Kapelos, gets thrown through glass and gets glass in his neck, basically.
It's sort of hard to see that. Like, I feel like that's not really shot very clearly.
The lighting is like...
Yeah.
I'm just saying it right now. The lighting's terrible in this movie. It's dark as hell. I thought it was my TV at first, but I remember in the theater feeling the same way. It's so low lit, and I think that's probably intentional, so you don't really see the creature all that much, which is such a shame.
Because it's a really cool looking creature, but we're going to talk specifically about that.
But there are literally scenes where they're walking around, and it's like you can't see anything because it's so dark. But anyways, but Tico Wells gets his head ripped off,
sadly, underwater. Zach, did you notice somebody from Fletch early on in the movie? A police officer? When Tom Sizemore, and you probably recognize his voice, when Tom Sizemore first gets to the crime scene, the boat crime scene, Ralph Seymour is the cop that he's talking to. He kind of talks like this. He played Creasy in Fletch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's also in Buxton in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
He's wow. Whoa, that's rolling it back. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I did recognize him. Because there's so many people to recognize in this movie.
There really is. I mean, the mayor, you recognize him. The mayor's wife, where do you recognize her from?
Well, so her name is Diane Robin, and she's one of the coke fiend girls in RoboCop. She plays Chandra. When what's his face?
Clarence Boddicker, bitches leave.
Yeah, but when
Kirkwood Smith,
our boy Miguel Ferrer is doing coke with the two ladies.
Yeah,
and she's one of them. And I don't think she has hardly any lines of dialogue in that. And in this one,
Nah.
0 lines of dialogue, but she emotes really damn good.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I mean, like, there's so many characters, character actors in this movie. It really is packed, like, to the brim with character actors.
There's a guy, he's one of the main characters. He plays Dr. Greg Lee. He's the guy you're supposed to hate. His name's Chi Mui Lo. He sucks. Like, and I don't mean that from an actor perspective. His character, you want to see him get, killed so well. Spoiler, they don't show him get killed. They just show him scream, and I'm like, wait, that's one of the main guys that's supposed to die. All these incidental characters get their heads ripped off. Fine, he's the one you want to see get his head ripped off, and they don't show it.
I know.
I'm disappointed by that.
Me too. No, me too.
Anyways, small role, or not small role, big role for a guy who was relatively unknown, I think, at the time. Yeah,
and he does a great job being smarmy. Any other character actors? Like I said, there's a lot of them. There's like a random cop where I'm like, that guy, he's been in something. You know what I mean? Just everybody.
There's another reunion of Monster Squad actors. David Proval, who is he's one of the security guards in the Red Room during the lockdown. Yeah, he was in the Monster Squad in the beginning of Monster Squad on the plane. When they're transporting the Dracula shows up and takes the creature away. Frankenstein. And then the mayor, Robert Lesser, is the dad in Monster Squad of the mummy, the kid who has Mummy lives in my house.
My closet or whatever.
Yeah. He plays the father where he's like, woo,
No shit.
And the mummy's right behind him, and he's like, there's no such thing as monsters, and then he's like, good night, tells him to go to bed or whatever.
That's such a great scene. I love that scene.
Yeah, so he was in both of those. And then, look, this there's a bunch of other who's who people where you're like, I know that guy. So many, and the cast is great. There's one guy I think worth mentioning because, I don't know, he looks like you've seen him everywhere back in the day. His name's Don Harvey. He's like one of the cops at one point, but he was in,
That's what I was saying. Like, there's a cop that you recognize. He was like in Casualties of War and shit like that. And yeah, like that dude, like he has one line in this in 2 seconds, but like he's been in bigger roles in other things. So, which is what I find interesting about this movie. Character actors like him, where I feel like they maybe just took the role to work with that director, because I feel like I'd seen them in bigger things prior to that. And it almost feels like some of them took a sort of a step down for some reason.
Yeah, agreed. I think so. I think one of his bigger roles was in 8 Men Out, which is a great baseball movie, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are so many like great little side characters in this, blink and you miss them moments, but they're all which make it more enjoyable. Oh, and Dick Warlock, by the way, plays a policeman. Dick Warlock, of course, is a stuntman who's known mostly for being Michael Myers in
Halloween 2.
In Halloween 2, yeah.
And then we saw him in Remote Control.
Right.
Without the mask, he does some stunt work in that, plays a dad that gets kind of killed, but it's a cool stunt thing. But he's a little guy, though. He's definitely a little guy.
He's a little guy. He's 86 years old, by the way, and he's still alive and kicking. God bless him.
God bless him. Well, guys and gals, we're going to do things a little bit differently here. We're just going to have more of a general discussion. But before we get into that, let's roll the trailer.
According to museum security, you were the last one to leave last night. Did you see or hear anything strange?
Well, I thought I heard something as I was leaving, but it could have been anything.
Sweeping teams of 2. Nobody goes in alone. This place is not going to open until every room is clear. Now go.
Come out, wherever you are. Any idea about a weapon?
Something big. The board is hosting a gala preview here tomorrow night. It would be a disaster for us if we had to postpone.
We may have somebody on our hands who makes Jeffrey Dahmer look like a Cub Scout.
You have to let the gala go on.
Something's wrong.
Come on, what's the matter with you?
33% Homo sapien.
Pardon? What are you talking about?
Gradual extinction of the human race.
And Zach, since we're not going to do a full breakdown, I actually hand wrote a little synopsis here to give everybody a little refresher on the movie. I'm sure people have seen it.
Wow.
But we're not doing a breakdown, so let's do a little synopsis. After an anthropologist is poisoned by a mutating fungus in Brazil, he secretly ships himself and his findings back to the Natural History Museum in Chicago, where he goes on a killing spree in his new monstrous form, searching for the one thing that can keep him alive: hormones secreted by the human hypothalamus. Superstitious police detective Vincent D'Agusta and his partner Hollingsworth team up with Dr. Margot Green to save high society members that are trapped inside the museum after the creature's rampage triggers the building's security system, locking everyone inside during a gala. The mutated beast is eventually burned to death by Margot when she sets a room full of chemical containers on fire and hides from the blaze in a sealed metal tank used by scientists in the museum. Better than the one on IMDb, I would say.
I'm very impressed with that.
Thanks,
very
buddy.
Impressed with that. Yeah.
So first and foremost, I gotta know what Bodhi thought of this, and did he notice the big old lady's titties at the beginning of the movie?
Yeah, well, I told him.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, God. He's like, oh, hey, yo. I
They're
said,
so big
Bodhi,
and so old.
Bodhi, this is like watching National Geographic. That's and he's like, hey, yo, it's still, no, hey, yo, no. And that woman, by the way, is an actor. I've seen her like a character actor in things. I'm like, that's not like some native person they plucked up. That's
they're all actors. Everyone's an actor.
By the way, we didn't even mention him, which I think is pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, Whitney, because I looked him up on IMDb. Like, I knew him from nothing.
His name's Louis von Bergen. I think it's kind of funny that he's one of the main characters in this movie, and he's the most unrecognizable. It's like the guy who plays Greg Lee. These two main characters in the movie are so insignificant, which I kind of don't mind, because nowadays when you're like, how come they have the same guys all the time in all the same shows? So it is a little refreshing. They're generic look. He's generic looking as hell, but he serves a purpose. Bodhi noticed that. He also noticed when Margot was, changing her clothes into her dress, and is like, oh, they've got to do a shot of her with her bra on. Like, this is the 90s. Yep.
You notice how the old man kind of kept looking over every time?
Yep. You got to exploit everybody. Every lady gets exploited back in the day. She gets heavily exploited, by the way. But.
Of course. I mean, who was it back in '97? But yeah, give us before we do yours and my thoughts, Femme French and Bodhi's like overall thoughts on what they thought of the movie.
I mean, Femme French thought it was good. She stayed and watched the whole thing. She didn't get up and leave.
And it was a little gory in some parts too.
Yeah, but she didn't bat an eye at it. And Bodhi loved the gore. He thought it was great, and he was compelled through the whole thing. The one thing he definitely did not like, and I think across the board you'll agree, is the CGI. CGI is trash. It's so bad, and I don't care if we didn't have the budget for the monster or we didn't deliver on time. There's got to be some controversy about that, because the monster is so cool looking and is so pivotal to everything that goes on. Spoiler: it's Dr. Whitney, like a mutated and. There should have been more of that. Like you said, there's 4 minutes of him on the screen. They do a whole less is more at times, but then when they go for the gusto with the gore scenes are kind of like, oh, that guy, we're seeing that gore. I want to see this gore,
Yeah, I liked the way the creature, I liked the aesthetic of the design and everything, and how it's like an amalgamation of different animals and stuff like that, because the fungus sort of works as a virus. It's all explained in the movie, which is really cool.
It's explained really well.
Yeah, and when the movie is in the darkness and you can just see shapes moving and see it barely, I think that's when it works the best. When the CGI, there's a shot where the SWAT team guy is sort of getting pulled out, and you see a really brightly lit version of the creature, and I think it's supposed to be wet from the rain.
Right.
It looks like PS1 graphics, and then the fire at the end is just pretty bad. Totally. I mean, it's bad. The textures really are bad.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, out of the 4 minutes, it's probably equal parts 2 minutes of CGI and 2 minutes of creature.
Ugh.
When it's busting through the doors and chasing her, that's when it's probably the best. But then when it's running down the stairs on fire at the end, that's when it's probably the worst.
Yeah. I mean, there's a scene where it gets right up on her, and I'm sure it's fleshed out more in the book. It gets right up on Margot and licks her with its tongue. The tongue is a straight up CGI tongue.
Yeah,
it is so bad. It is probably one of the worst, one of the worst looking CGI tongues I've ever seen in my entire life, where they have the actual creature right there, but the fake, the physical practical effects, but the fake tongue comes out. I'm like, you couldn't do a CGI tongue for this, or a practical tongue for this? Come on.
It's on par with like Reptile's tongue from Mortal Kombat from a couple years prior, and also too the same year. This was the same year, bro. Spawn. I remember I saw that in the theater. That was a hyped movie, and saw it in the theater and only seen it once. Fucking hated it because I remember the CGI fire and everything is just so fucking bad. But like what I can get around some of the stuff. Like I said, the Stan Winston creation looks fine. Looks fucking amazing.
I love it.
It's just how much can it do? Apparently the guy who designed it, not Stan Winston, but the guy who actually designed it, based on the director's direction, he didn't want a man in a suit. Like, he didn't want it to look like a man in a suit. So when the guy designed it, he also kind of didn't put much thought into how an actor would move inside of it. And apparently that also kind of made it problematic. And he's gone on record saying like it was a learning lesson for him to also design with the actor in mind, because he kind of didn't. And it sounds like it was almost like a Job of the Hutt scenario where they had to have one person in the leg, one person in the mouth doing something. And it was just, and it could barely move, but the close-up shots look amazing. Like when you see its eyeball, it looks great. But going back to your tongue thing, I always got the idea, because she says to him right there, she's like, I know who you are, Whitney. Like, I always wanted to know if maybe there was a backstory between them. Like, maybe he always pined for her type of thing, but it was never reciprocated, and that's why he licks her and just doesn't kill her immediately here.
Yeah, like he's toying with her a little bit. Yeah, right. I got that. Quick side note, Kristen did point out she didn't like the music cues at certain points. It felt repetitive to her. And the composer is a guy named John Debney, who has composed, he did all the recent Kevin Costner Horizon movies.
Oh, the one that came out, the only one that came out.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be more.
Yeah, they were made. They just probably will never be seen. He did the SpongeBob movie. He did the Garfield movie, Hocus Pocus 2.
Lighter stuff than this.
Yeah. So Dora the Explorer. He's done The Greatest Showman. That's a pretty big deal. Young Sheldon, a few episodes of that. Like this guy's worked on a lot of projects. So, anyways, just saying, she's not a huge fan.
What'd you think of it? What'd you think of the score?
I thought it was pretty good. I think one of the things that initially stood out to me, well, actually, the opening is a little silly, because Dr. Whitney, like, he's given the elixir to drink that basically causes the transformation, and he gives this look before he drinks it, like he rolls his eyes and like cocks to the side.
He does like acting 101 portrayal of, all right, I guess I'll do this. Like, it's literally way you and I would have acted. And every time I watch it, I'm like, that's kind of cheesy. He's like, oh, okay, and down the hatch it goes type of thing.
I know.
I noticed that 100%.
That we see a bunch of big boobs from, one lady, and whether it's low lit or not. And yeah, at first I'm like, okay, this is a cool setup, but it looks a little cheesy and cheap in the beginning. But then after that, it kicks into what feels like a really big budget, big production film and looks great. And they had originally intended to film this movie in New York, at the Natural History Museum there, but they shot all of this pretty much in Chicago. They shot some interior stuff in LA, but that's pretty cool that they did that.
Yeah, the New York History Museum, they read the script and they didn't like the way the museum people were sort of portrayed. So they're like, no thanks.
Yeah, because Linda Hunt plays she's like she oversees the museum. Yeah. But I don't think she's a terrible character. Like,
maybe they're kind of referring to the head of the security was kind of a douchebag,
Yeah, and that guy, he had a role in a movie called The Principal with John Belushi.
Yeah.
And he plays a weasel
He's
a weasel in
definitely
that too.
a weasel.
He's good at playing a weasel. Yeah, but I don't know. I like. There are definitely moments where there's kind of a comic element to this film, like a silly comedic element to it. Case in point with the security guard who gets killed. He's smoking weed in the stall, and when he's dead, when they go to the crime scene later, the forensic guy, he's like says to Augusta,
hey, Lieutenant, check this out. He was smoking weed.
Yeah, he's smoking weed. It looks like he was doing a little pot on the potty.
But I like how Augusta's
like,
yeah, well, that's like a misdemeanor. I don't think that warrants getting your head ripped off. You know?
Yeah, I know, and that which was pretty funny actually. And then Augusta's got a whole thing with superstition, and then there's a whole subplot. Don't pick up pennies that are face side down. I'm sure this led to my brother and I both becoming a little more OCD because I'm like wanting to be like him.
But I like how they didn't force this like relationship between Dr. Green, Penelope Ann Miller, and Tom Sizemore. Like, it never really goes there outside of just, they're in a situation together. He's a cop trying to keep her, protect her and keep her alive. Whether there was supposed to be sexual chemistry in the script, I don't know. There is none on screen. I don't think Penelope Ann Miller and Tom Sizemore have that kind of chemistry. They both do a fine job acting, but I don't think they have that. They didn't have that kind of chemistry together.
I actually enjoy that because I get a little tired of like constantly shoving it down our throat that these characters have to hook up.
There was no need for that in this movie. This movie didn't need something like that. You already have your big old lady titties at the beginning. You don't need them to hook up. Honestly, the old man from them, Whitmore, he had more sexual chemistry with Penelope Ann Miller than Tom Sizemore did.
Yeah, and just so people don't get offended, there's not just female nudity, but there's decapitated black male pubic hairs and schlonger that get covered up. Like there's a quick shot of it where and Bodhi's like, "Hey, yo, you can almost see his
donger." Yeah,
and then the next shot they go back, you see the sheet has been pulled up just slightly. And I'm like, it's really subtle.
I love how that was a fake body and they sculpted it accurately.
Yeah, go back and watch it, y'all, because literally like 1 second you see it, and then the next shot it's like the sheet's up higher, and you're like, oh, they cut it out. That was weird. Penelope Ann Miller's character when she sees the security guard's decapitated body, her reaction, like it is hilarious. She does it twice. She has two moments.
Two people she cares about. She sees their decapitated bodies. I can't say that I wouldn't react the same way because she's not expecting that. And they do call it out later because she's like, I said hi to him, every morning for like 17 years or something like that. And she's like, the least you could have done was close the door. And I like how Tom Sizemore's character's like, oh, you got me. Like, you're right. Like, we did not treat that correctly.
I agree with you. Her reaction is definitely warranted. But you know how people say, like, some people ugly cry really terribly.
She ugly screams. Yeah. I'm with you, bro. I do want to say, while we're on these three characters, was it Dr. Frock, James Whitmore, Tom Sizemore, and Penelope Ann Miller?
Yeah.
My second favorite scene in the movie is with the Cathoga. That's the creature is what it's called, Cathoga, not to be confused with Cthulhu. But I like when they first see it and they have to slam the door shut. It's like done so perfectly well in editing. You see the creature for a split second. You see their reaction. Then it's the POV of the creature coming towards them as they close the door. You get a very quick shot of the creature as the door's closing, and then the door's getting, hammered by the creature. That's like a masterclass in editing, with directing and with creature CGI and practical. Like everything is melded into that scene, and including three actors doing a great job reacting to probably nothing in front of them.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's really, it's really effective. The whole time I'm watching in that movie this time around and thinking about it now, I'm like, it would have been nice if they could remake this movie with a better budget and more practical effects. That would really, by the way, side note, the editor, his name's Stephen Kemper.
I feel like we've heard that name before.
Yeah, well, so he did also work on Time Cop and Sudden Death,
Of course.
but he's actually worked on a lot of action movies, and that's relevant because the action is shot really well in this movie. He worked on The Punisher, the 2004 Punisher movie. He worked on Mission Impossible 2, the John Woo film, the Wind Talkers, which I believe is a John Woo movie as well. Mm-hmm. Face Off, which is
John Woo.
John Woo. Aspen Extreme, which y'all know that I love that movie. It's edited really well. Showdown in Little Tokyo, New Jack City, and 315, The Moment of Truth.
Hell yeah, baby. That's awesome. Now, Zach, speaking of action scenes, this movie kind of like, especially what I remembered, and it holds up, there's kind of two big action scenes here. One, there's the chaos when everyone is trying to, run out of the museum after the gala. And then there's the SWAT team massacre, which is probably what we all remembered the first time we saw it. But let's first talk about the chaos scene.
So stupid.
Dude, I love people flying through glass. The one lady getting crushed against the door. I love the
face
couple
explodes, y'all.
I love the couple that falls into that sarcophagus, and everything. Oh man, but it's a wild scene. This movie, I know it's a horror movie, but it's like a horror action police drama. It's kind of everything.
Well, it tracks with the director. He's made a lot of movies like that. So it's very comical, though. And whether that was intended or not, it just flat out is. That scene that Corey just described, when the woman gets her face smashed into a door, like her nose pops. And you're like, on one hand, you're like, oh, that's so horrible. On the other hand, you're like, oh my God, the acting is ridiculous. It is like, the movie Earthquake where they're running away and a brick bounces off a guy's head. It's kind of that silly. Then on top of it, the SWAT team scene, you don't care about any of these guys. You don't give a shit about any of them.
I wish you did.
And I think that's one of the things that hurts this movie is so many of the deaths are just meaningless. The people that die... the people that die, the coffee cops get killed and you feel bad for them.
Those are the main ones. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's like a lady that gets offed in the sewer and that she's going to die because they close in on her for no reason. And then she's dead. The SWAT team cops, there's one cop who gets ripped in half and it's all dramatic with really bad CGI blood.
Hey everybody, Corey here. I just wanted to let you know that we'll be right back after these short messages.
Hey everybody, I'm Tim.
And I'm Dean.
And we're the hosts of Talking Back. We're a retro-based podcast covering movies, comics, video games, and more.
Check us out every Monday where we hit the rewind button and dig into some of our favorite content from the past. We like to keep things fun, lighthearted, and informative.
Do you feel like you need more nostalgia in your life? Then check out Talking Back. We're available everywhere podcasts are found.
Have you been wondering where's the beef? Well, on our podcast, Throwback Trivia Takedown, you might just find that out, as well as some other things about the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
We're a nostalgic-based trivia show that pits two challengers head-to-head in a duel of the decades, with categories ranging from movies, TV and music, to slang, food, and fashion. You're sure to get the best in retro-themed trivia.
So strap on your jelly shoes, grab a surge, and walk like an Egyptian to your favorite podcast app and check out Throwback Trivia Takedown.
I heard even Mikey likes it.
And now, back to the show. Dude, so there's 3 SWAT team guys that get killed.
Yes.
And on paper they're all good, but in reality only one of them or 2 of them are good. One, the guy is coming down the ropes because they're all coming from the skylights basically. Guy's coming down the rope, he gets sort of tackled off midair by the creature.
Cool.
That one's cool. That one's great. The one that's probably the best, and I think everyone remembers, the cop lands on the ground, kind of like hurts his leg a little bit, gets up to run. Creature comes up behind him, and in the same take with the actor, like to CGI, it rips his head off in one take. I think it's not perfect, but
Yeah.
for 1997, it looks amazing. I think that's
that
one of
bad.
the few CGIs. I still think it still holds up. It's still effective, I say, even to today. I think it
Yeah.
looks pretty good. And it's the one moment from the entire fucking movie that I remembered.
But again, who is he?
Yeah,
Who is
but
he?
you don't care. And then the third one is a third SWAT team guy who sees both of these happening. He's like, pull me back up. And as he's going up, you see the creature sort of going up the wall to get to him. And there's a really cool moment where the camera's right on his face and he's like, pull me up. And then he just stops talking. And then they pull him over. And he doesn't feel like he weighs the right amount. It feels fake.
Yeah.
And so he lands there. He's cut in half. It's a shocking moment. He lands on the roof, cut in half, shocking moment. And fake CGI blood is coming out of him. That looks terrible. But then the cop that pulls him up, I mean, this guy must have been his brother-in-law. The way he reacted to him dying,
Yeah.
he goes, no! And then the camera kind of like pans away and cuts pretty quickly. I think that it was the editor's choice to cut that scream as quickly as possible because it was fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
And I was like, and it takes you out of the moment because
Totally.
what's weird is that one moment, that SWAT team member guy, he's playing it like it's a B-movie horror movie, a B-movie creature feature.
Oh, this
But
is
it's
like
not.
Sharknado levels.
Yeah, that guy's reaction is Sharknado level of acting, but the rest of the movie is not that way. And that's why
know.
you have this like sort of weird back and forth between you. And then at the part you were saying is ridiculous with the people all fleeing. Did you see the people running down the stairs? Like once they got outside the building, people are flipping over one another. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Again,
they literally flip over each other.
it's like C-level Sharknado acting, but the directing, like the rest of the movie, like when it comes to the characters, it's like A-level shit. That's what makes this movie kind of weird.
Yeah,
and not great.
In that moment, Bodhi's like, "Oh, come on," and I go, "Well, no, they're all freaking out because that thing's so creepy looking." Of course they're panicking, and inside I'm like, "Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad."
And if the creature was so high that it could cut that guy in half right there, why didn't it climb out the window? It was clearly like, I don't know, like a foot under the window. Why didn't it just reach up and swipe that cop, the SWAT team guy that was screaming at the top of his lungs? Why didn't he just grab him?
Right, because at this point, like Corey was saying in a synopsis, one of the things that factors into this creature potentially being able to survive is feeding on these little eggs, right? And it gets explained in the movie, these little like fish egg type looking things.
Yeah, it's the fungus that is what
fungus.
mutates him, but he needs to also eat it to survive. And if he can't get it, he has to get the same thing from the hypothalamus. And it's explained in the movie, and it's explained well.
It's explained well. So, to the best of the monster's knowledge, all of those little eggs, which were on leaves, didn't make it on the boat because that's another plot point to the movie too, is like the doctor gets on this boat thinking that the leaves are on there, but they're not, and he freaks out about it.
And then they come in a later shipment, but then everyone at the museum doesn't know what these leaves are for, so they think they're infested with something, so they're like, we got to burn them.
Yeah,
and there's only like a few of them are kept as an example to study, but they thought that they were packing leaves that were just kind of gotten infected with a fungus, and like, well, we can't afford to have that, so we need to burn it because we don't have Whitney here to tell us what the hell this is. And then later on they figure out maybe the leaves were what he sent.
Right, which is totally fine. All of that makes sense. So, but the creature doesn't know that those leaves are in the museum. The creature is now just feeding on humans, right? 24/7. So the motivation for the creature to stay in the museum is out the window. There's no reason for the creature to stay in the museum at this point. So either it goes out the sewers, which it could have done, or it goes out
the skylight by the
skylight,
SWAT
like
team
you
came,
said,
yeah.
with the SWAT team, which it doesn't do. And when it goes into the sewers, it kills what 2 people, and then splits off in the other direction for no real motivation.
Yeah, because why did he not go after Tom Sizemore, and Clayton Rohner? Like, he didn't, So, like, why not?
Yes, he only goes after Margot or the doctor, Penelope and Miller, and but then we don't get any information as to their backstory, really.
But bro, it makes it even worse. In the final act of the movie, in the climax, the last 10 minutes, Margot and Tom Sizemore's police character, D'Augusta, are separated, and he thinks he's going to go after the creature. He's like, lock me out, But, so she's like in like her main office area. So Zach, it falls through the skylight on the roof. So like it did, at some point the movie's telling us it did go out. And like, so why didn't the SWAT team, when it went out, why didn't they just light that thing up? Like, it's not bulletproof, man. Like, I know Tom Sizemore like kind of shoots at it, but it's so big. But like, you could pepper that thing with an M16. I'm sure you'd kill it eventually if a bunch of dudes were doing it. So like, it clearly went outside at some point. Why didn't anyone do anything? And before I forget, I literally only thought about this just now. The creature, there's this tell in the movie that the creature is nearby. It has like this raspy breathing to it, like almost like it has, what's it called? Asthma. Why did they not have Dr. Whitney at the beginning of the movie have asthma? Like, it's almost like, you know what I mean? Like, that's such an easy character thing to do, to have him, because we never hear him have asthma. So why is it when you turn into this monster you have asthma? Maybe it's in the book, maybe it's explained, but just as a straight, like, just, the language of film, it should have been such a smart, like a clever thing to do. Make Dr. Whitney have asthma at the beginning of the movie, and then when the creature's around, he has asthma, and you're like, oh, it's fucking Dr. Whitney,
Yeah. I mean, look, and I want to tell everyone listening right now, we did enjoy this movie. There's just a lot of moments. I think you'll find this movie way more enjoyable to laugh at than you will in certain scenes. But yeah, I totally agree. And by the way, when Sizemore is, separating himself from the doctor to keep her safe, he doesn't do it in the way that Corey described it. He does it in, Kristen said, wow, that is male aggression to the highest degree, because he's screaming at her like he's basically he's yelling at her like he's mad at her, and she's crying, and he's like berating her while he's telling her to lock the door behind her, and he's lock the fucking door,
he's playing it like
an abusive husband.
Well, it did feel that way, but he's also playing it like his character in Saving Private Ryan, or his character in Heat, telling another male character that he doesn't like. That's how he's playing it, something to do. Like, he's telling them what to do with a character he doesn't like, and he plays it weird. Like, Tom Sizemore, he kind of actually plays it kind of nice throughout most of the movie, but when that comes out, I almost look at it like, is that you, Tom Sizemore?
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
seriously. And I'm like, I would have brought that. He like plays it at a 10. I would have brought that down to like a 5. Like, please just close the door. Like, I got to go do this. Please just I can't do it with you here if I got to protect you. He's like, fucking close the door. Close the fucking door.
I know. It's really funny.
She's not a fellow bank robber that you hate. You know what I mean?
She's just seen like two of her closest friends get murdered. Closest friends in the museum dead. Cut her some slack. Don't be such a dick. He is a dick to her in that moment. And there's like all these little subplots and layers to these characters. Him in particular. One is that he got divorced from his wife, and
she took the dog.
She took the dog into custody, and that gets brought up a couple times. And at that point, you're just and he gets another dog, like one, because two dogs go down in the sewer. One gets murdered, unfortunately, and the other one he has for a little while, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be his dog, and then it just runs off. You never see it again.
The dog's the smartest character in the movie. It's like, fuck it, I'm out, baby.
Actually, he is. Yeah, Bodhi's like, that dog's the main character. That dog's the main character.
I can see that. Oh, yeah. I mean, just kind of like final thoughts and what I think now I was so excited to watch it the other night. I watched it twice. I was so excited to watch it.
I was so excited to watch it.
I was
but then...
so excited to watch it. And it's like, it's not that it drags on at an hour and 50 minutes. I like all the beats that it goes through. The problem is that you see the creature a total of 4 minutes in the entire movie. And I swear to fucking God, when I looked back on this movie in my mind, I saw the creature so much more than I thought I did. I thought it appeared so much more than it did. But again, hour and 50 minutes, it appears at like the hour and 20 minutes. Like you see like little glimpses, but like that one scene that I liked with the door, that's like at an hour and 20 minutes. There's only like 30 minutes left of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, and they stack a lot of cool shit like in that last 30 minutes, which is the SWAT team stuff and everything. But yeah, like the darkness of the movie that you were saying was a problem. The CGI, and I can still get past the CGI. Like I get it. I can watch a movie in 2026 and be like, I get it. This was 1997. I can totally get it. But give me more of the goddamn creature. It's cool looking. Even when it's CGI, I like the way it looks. I mean, it fucking looks cool. Give me fucking more of it. And the movie doesn't. And I think because the movie's a fucking creature feature, only seeing it for 4 minutes in the film, for me, that really, really does ding it. The second time I watched it was today, and I was taking notes. And so, like, I was kind of, like, looking up, looking down. I was writing the synopsis, thinking about it, this and that. And honestly, the movie went by much faster when I wasn't paying attention to it the entire time. And I think that's why I used to watch it at the video store, just pop it in. And then it was one of those movies, unless the creature was on screen, it was one of those movies, I probably didn't pause it when I had to help a customer. I just sort of let it play. And, you know, if you've already seen it once, that's the best way to view it moving forward.
Yeah.
Again, I don't hate it, man. I think it's a well-made movie. Didn't hate it. Just did not hold up in the way it did in my head.
Yeah. So I agree with you. It didn't hold up on many levels, but I will say I'm surprised that for an hour and 50-minute movie, because typically I'm like, that's way too long. The low moments are short, with the enjoyable moments being much longer. You know what I mean? Like, so like the silly moments that they could have just cut out or trimmed, like those moments are pretty short, but there's just a lot of them. That's why the tone of this movie is so weird. But the hour and 50 minutes pretty much goes by. Look, I was planning to watch this in 2 parts with Bodhi, and we put it on, and at the halfway point, I'm like, do you want to turn it off or do you want to keep watching? He goes, no, let's watch the rest of it. And I'm like, okay, cool.
I think that's because the actors are all good. Like we said, this is stacked with known character actors, like good character actors. And the fact that I think the best part of this movie is the way the characters are portrayed and the way they're written. That's what I think back fondly on. Those 2 cops, the coffee cops that I didn't want to die. Clayton Rohner, this is the movie I think of with him, and I didn't want him to die. Like, I didn't want any character to die. Maybe the smarmy guys, you know, they died. But like, I think that's what keeps you engaged in this movie is the characters. This is a character-driven creature feature that the characters are better than the creature.
Yeah, well, according to quite a few people, the characters in the books are way better, including, you know, D'Augusta's character. That whole superstitious thing was added for the movie. It's not in the book.
And that's the weakest part of the movie is his superstitious bullshit.
And apparently the other character in the book, his name's Aloysius Pendergrast, Agent Aloysius Pendergrast. He's like way better. He's much more dynamic, I guess, of a character. And he was completely omitted from the movie. And then this book series that it's based on, I'll read you all the titles. It's by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. So they did Relic, then they did Reliquary, then they did Thunderhead, Cabinet of Curiosities, Still Life with Crows, and Brimstone and Dance with Death. That's the final book, Brimstone and Dance with Death.
Are they all supernaturally like spins to them?
Yeah, so it's a series. I think it's based on these characters kind of like, I don't know for sure. I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
But I think what my brother told me is like the main characters, it's the adventures of these characters, basically.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Mike Mignola used this for Hellboy or something, you know, like the books at least. Maybe not the movie, but the books. That sounds like, because it sounds like, you know, an FBI agent like hunting down supernatural things. Like, that's such a cool idea.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the X-Files, but
it is, and there's we forgot to mention, there's two kid characters in the beginning of this movie that see the monster and get all freaked out, or they hear it or whatever. I think in the book those kids are killed, and so
I wish they would have died.
They should have died. Because they're both annoying kids.
That's the only thing that I kind of gave Mimic props was that the kid gets killed.
Oh yeah, they kill a kid in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to kill a kid in a movie. In a movie.
Yeah. In a movie. Yeah. Anyways, keep going with your final thoughts.
No, I would watch this movie again happily. Gun to head, but for the reasons, you know, like I would watch it again if someone said, "Hey, I heard that movie Relic's cool," and like, okay, well, do you want to watch it? Because I got it. There was supposed to be a 4K or a Blu-ray release of this movie by Kino, I think, at one point, and never surfaced. I don't know if we're ever going to see that. It's a shame. It's cool to see Tom Sizemore carry a movie as a lead.
Yeah.
Somewhat a lead character, basically the lead, because I think at one point Bodhi's like, who's the main character in this? And I said, I think he is. But again, it's an ensemble piece, you know, and I think it's fun. My biggest complaint is the CGI. If the CGI was fixed, all the other things for me would be well overlooked. When the tongue comes out and is licking Penelope and Miller, her skin doesn't even move when it goes up her chest and up her face. It doesn't even move. So it's so fake.
I wish like people would put out a movie like The Relic or something and just fix the CGI. Like, that's it.
Yeah, can't you do that? Don't they do that now with literally everything?
Well, it costs money, and that's the thing. It's so much cheaper to just, you know, put it out the way it is versus actually, you know, do something, you know, like that to it.
Okay.
And I'm sure somebody could tell us, like, why that would be a hard thing to do. But
right.
I don't buy it. Like, just fix the CGI. It would help this movie immensely. But, you know, to your point, Zach, Myra, you know, before she actually went out to dinner with her sister tonight, and I was watching the movie for the notes and everything. And so she caught like the first 20 minutes and one. And she's like, "Oh, I remember this. Oh yeah, he's gonna go on the boat and then he's gonna scream." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know." She's like, "Oh, I remember all this shit." And so if she said to me, "Yeah, I'd like to watch that again," I'd be like, "Yeah, okay. I would do it. I would do it." On my own accord, and I kind of feel like you had a better experience with it than I did, because I watched it by myself, just quietly, going like, "Where's the monster?" You know, and it seems like you had a little bit more fun with Kristen and Bodhi watching it. You know, watching it on my own, the next time I watch it, will probably be when I'm in the retirement home and I need something to watch. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'll feel the need to double dip on a 4K if the Kino's 4K ever came out. If it ever does come out, I'll be fine. This $8 Blu-ray by Paramount is fine. It's no frills. There's nothing to it, but I don't care. I won't rewatch it on my own.
No, I mean, by the way, if you want, you can own it on the digital for like $5 or something like that. So
yeah.
And yeah, I guess the fact that it's so dark is a little annoying, but you know, again, I can overlook that too.
Yeah.
Clayton Rohner and Tom Sizemore have the exact same haircut and they wear the exact same outfit. That's pretty.
Well, it's 7. It's right around 7. So they both have.
But they're both white guys.
They both have that late 90s. I had that coat. I had the same fucking coat. The long leather. You know, it's not a duster. It's you know, it's what Brad Pitt wears in 7. I had the same fucking thing. Had the same fucking haircuts. The Clooney haircut. This movie is so 90s. I mean, I love that about it. I absolutely love that about it.
It's a good part of the 90s.
Yeah, love Clayton Rohner. So, and Kristen liked it, Bodie liked it, you liked it. That's great, man. That makes me happy. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed a solid creature feature. I'm glad Kristen sat through that. That's really fucking cool.
Me too. I was impressed.
You're rubbing off on her, bro.
Yes, I am.
And in her. So, guys and gals, let us know what you thought of this review, especially the new format, not breaking it down and everything. We're gonna keep testing the waters with this kind of format with some other newer movies. Maybe not Patreon picks. We'll probably do a proper breakdown with those. But in the future, we're gonna be reviewing the new Death Stalker and possibly another horror movie that just came out that we backed on Indiegogo. And when we do those, we'll probably do it like this. Also with newer movies, you also don't want to spoil everything, by doing a scene-by-scene breakdown. But yeah, let us know what you thought, and let us know if last time you rewatched The Relic and, what you thought of it, if it holds up in your opinion.
And let us know if you read the books. And if you did, what you think of them.
I'm actually kind of intrigued by the books. I kind of want to read it. So I'll see if I can track down the copy of this one, because The Relic is the first one,
it's
right?
Book 1, yeah. I actually gave this book to, I might still have it. I gave that book to my tutoring client when I was, they needed a summer read, and I gave it to them, and they liked it.
So wait, but you haven't read it though, right?
But you haven't read it.
But you haven't read it, have you?
No, I started to read it with the kid, and then I was like, you're gonna like this more than the movie probably.
Okay.
But I never finished reading the book.
Yeah, you're not a big reader.
No, I'm a watcher of movies for pad and $2 late fee.
That's right. And what's going on? Oh, martial art madness. So the Relic will drop at the beginning of March. So over on $2 late fee, you guys are doing martial arts madness. I think I'm going to be on an episode of Tales from the Video Store talking about ninja culture in the 80s. I don't know why I turned into Oprah Winfrey.
Well, if I was Oprah, I would be telling you that we have interviews all month long. We have Lightning from AKA James Pax, AKA Raiden Inspiration. Right,
yep,
for
Mortal Kombat. Yep.
From Big Trouble in Little China. He's a trip. He's a really fun interview. I interviewed him to talk about the 40th anniversary of Big Trouble in Little China and the tour he's going to be on all year long. Revisiting No Retreat, No Surrender with Kurt McKinney and J.W. Fales. They came back on the show to talk about the documentary that they're in. Pete Sugarfoot Cunningham from No Retreat, No Surrender, who this guy is like mentored by Benny the Jet Urquidez and one of Benny the Jet's favorite students.
Benny the Jet, it's so funny because I just tagged you in a reel today from Grosse Pointe Blank, a movie I fucking adore. I rewatched it with Myra during quarantine. I think it still holds up very well. But he has a cool fight scene with John Cusack in the movie as a fellow hitman. But apparently the reason he's in it is because he was the one that did all the fight choreography in the movie. That's such a it's small world, dude. It's really cool, man.
Yeah, you'll hear some pretty cool stories from Pete about Benny the Jet.
I heard Benny the Jet's like a nice-ass dude in real life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he's a legend. Like, you'll hear why from Pete's perspective. And then a guy named Vince Murdocco, who was in a slew of B movies in the 80s and 90s. But his best friend, and he talks about him a little bit in the interview, is someone who's an alum to our Patreon, Robert Zadar.
Oh, Maniac Cop.
He has actually had a really strong relationship with Robert Zadar back in the day.
Oh,
and you'll hear
rips.
Their whole story. It's pretty fascinating stuff. So all month long, martial art interviews, martial art madness, which is wild. And then, regular 80s Kids Unite episode, which we recorded earlier in the year, but we decided to drop it a little bit later. It's really fun. You're all going to love that. And Territory Marks, wrestling, a Territory Marks, which will be a martial art inspired episode as well.
Very cool, man.
God, martial art madness lives.
Lives, baby. It lives just like a Thoga. It lives.
Oh, there was one thing they mentioned a chimera, and I'm like, and Bodhi goes, I think a chimera is he's like, no, that's wrong. That's not what a chimera is, because they were using chimera as the umbrella for a certain type of monsters.
Well,
but
a
he's
monster
like
that's a collection of like other creatures put together is
Oh,
what a chimera
that's
is.
yeah, okay, because he's like a chimera is like a lion, a goat, and a snake or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, no, I think that they got it right. He's like, no, that's not, because they're saying a chimera is something else. I think they said it too fast.
Yeah, yeah.
But the intention was there, right? The collection, yeah.
Yeah, and he missed it because I think it's yes, yeah, no, I think yeah, I don't think Bodhi picked up on it because it is supposed to have different, because that's why he could walk up on the walls because it had gecko and stuff like
gecko.
that. Yeah,
I love that, by the way.
Yeah, that was cool. Loved all, man, so many good ideas in this. Just wish more than 4 fucking minutes of creature.
Go read the book.
Go read the book.
Oh, by the way, if y'all want to get a really good look at what Cathoga looks like, there are like what is it? The company's out of business. Sideshow Collectibles made a Cathoga
a toy of this
figure, a statue.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, if you go on eBay or if you just go on Google and search for the image,
okay,
it's a full rendering of what it looks like, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean the design is amazing, and it's Stan Winston, so it's awesome.
Go get a digital tongue and lick somebody.
Yes. Yeah. This was fun, buddy. I like this. a lot.
Yeah, this is good times.
Yeah. And as always,
this is James Whitmore from the grave saying, we'll catch you on the chimera side with your human hypothalamus. Why do I sound like Richard Nixon?
You're becoming more and more Richard Nixon.
Be sure to subscribe to Podcasting After Dark on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. You can support the show by joining our Patreon page, picking up a t-shirt from our merch store, or leaving us a 5-star review. Follow us on Instagram at Podcasting After Dark. All links can be found on our website at www.podcastingafterdark.com. And join us next time for another cult movie or TV show review with Corey Stevenson and Zach Schaefer.